me for a mess. You almost got six voting.
Welcome to the mess that is Crash Week 3 PR.
Bro, what?
I bet you anything, Bash is gonna start whining about the super luck crit.
No. I'll tell you that you choked away the 6
As you can tell this week,
I did.
we had two special people decide to play each other for Week 3. They might even get the fact that I've now actually started recording.
I was gonna say, you already started recording, Bash is still sitting there talking about it.
So-
sorry guys. It's just been a crazy week with sketch being all trash and all again. So
Anyway, before we get into that argument, hello everybody, the normies that are actually listening to this on YouTube instead of sitting in the Discord call right now. This is Crash Season 3, Week 3, Power Rankings. We had some interesting games this week. So I want to literally plant my head through a wall whilst I tried ranking these. So, the games are, we have Slap of the Otter Aurus playing Orozco of the Tarakabamas. They're respectively placed 10th and 14th on my PRs in Week 2. We have Scoot, aka Zamcro, aka Big Bad Salty Boy, versus Lev, who are currently 7th and 16th respectively in the PR. We have Phantom Base playing Vish. Vish being the person who's most likely to come out and just prove me wrong on anything I ever think. And Phantom Base, who's currently at 14th, and Vish at 3rd in my PR from Week 2. We had the biggest game known to man, because, you know, we might actually hear some rest about who's better. We had Sketch versus Bash. Sketch in at 6th on the PR from Week 2 after a bit of a rough loss playing against Vish. And we have Bash overall currently hasn't lost yet after Week 2 at 2-0, who is in first for my PR. We then have KHD, aka the cutest guy around, playing against Ducksuck. Overall, probably the most consistent player I've seen so far. KHD came in 12th on the PR Week 2, and Ducksuck came in second even. We then have Malone of the St. Louis Swabloos in at 11 on the PR, playing against Crypto of the Amity Anthros, who came in at 8th. The final two games were Jimmy of the Pittsburgh Red Steelers, aka I'm going to flinch you to death, or I'm going to flinch you to death, playing against Mike of the Kandahar Crocodiles. Jimmy was in 5th in Week 2, and Mike was in 15th. And finally, we are sadly saying goodbye to Brett and the Riverside Otters. He has some IRL stuff that he needs doing and sorting out, and is also oversubscribed to leagues like no tomorrow.
Also saying goodbye to another person.
Well, we're saying goodbye.
Well, next week.
That's next week. That's next week.
Is it? No, that was week 3. That was week 3.
Shh. I was going to say that's it. Look, we need to script this properly, okay? My
bad. You know, okay.
But so
trying to be a model here,
we now.
even though it's going on in the
Dog, what? I'm right though. I'm literally right.
We made it a whole 3 minutes into it before you two started arguing. I'm actually impressed.
I didn't do anything. I said something that was factually correct.
That was not right.
Anyway.
Some support from KHD.
Anyway.
Yo, let's
Hashtag
first
justice
finish.
for sketch in the
Let's
chat.
first finish, man. Oh my God. Let's first talk. Jesus. Sketch is just.
So, having said goodbye to Brett, we looked far and wide, and all we could find is this washed out admin of the best place ever, who isn't actually washed out and is really quite good, and his name would be Carney Hobo. I don't actually have the team name close to hand. Wait, give me a whole 3 seconds.
Do you want me to
So,
say it or
no,
I know it?
it's the Vancouver Stealth Rocks. Oh yeah, I was actually there on the ball. And he was playing Jake of the Charlotte Beadrils. So Brett was previously in 9th in the PR. Just a thing to say right now. There are two rankings here that are kind of out of touch with the rest of everything else. So we do actually say goodbye to Zamcro, aka Scoot, as well, which is what Sketch was alluding to, but he had played his game. And actually, it was a bit of a controversial game, both in what was said afterwards and what actually happened during the game. And so I just decided to not rank him at all. because it was, having ranked this stuff, I was just like, no, I just don't want to. I don't want to rank his performance both on and off the Pokemon battlefield here. And I also froze Brett's ranking from week 2 to week 3 for Carney, just so even if the performance was stellar or horrible, that kind of you give the person the first week, especially with the amount of time frame that was given for him to play this week as well. It kind of just gives him a reprieve. It's like a clean slate. Week 4, there's going to be even more big shufflings because we're going to have to properly rank Carney as well, and Sumami, who is coming in to replace Scoot, aka Zampro. But yeah, so without further ado, this means that we know who ninth is, but coming in at 16th, unfortunately, there is only one team that is still without a win, and for that, I feel as if, whilst this game was a bit controversial, I have to put Phantom Base and the New York Cosmogs. What did I say about this? So, yeah, generally, that's another thing. This week was really hacksy, which kind of played into just how hard it was to properly rank people. I mean, the crit on Hippowdon really sucked. I mean, I don't know enough about the calcs or anything specific, but it looked as if Vish had enough in hand to still win. I really liked the Garbodor set, and there's some solid plays here and throughout your past weeks. It's just you're not stringing them together to actually get the win. Whether it's down to hacks or other means, it just isn't properly clicking just yet. Yeah. Do either of you two want to say something?
Well, you know what? To be fair, also, you said about the hacks with the crit. He crit Mega Mawile, which
Yes.
was, like, Mega Mawile was pretty much went down like in 2 turns of when it came on the field. So like at that point, like Mega Mawile would have still been around too. So it's kind of hard to say at this point.
Yes.
Because Hippowdon can crit suck too as well, but
Yeah.
with the amount of pressure Mega Mawile puts on, it's kind of difficult to say how like that affected the game.
I mean, it would put pressure having had a normal set. However, we'll get back to that when we come to Vish. But Vish has started to do what I did in Season 2, which I'm very happy about, and we'll talk about that in a bit. Sketch, anything to say, or are you just okay? Sketch is muted.
Oh, I'm just here. You know,
Okay.
Just big chilling. Your boy Sketch AV. Go subscribe to my channel.
Wow.
Like
Okay.
In
Nintendo
15th
Rose,
place.
no, I'm playing. But no, I haven't. I
Funny-
haven't watched a lot of the replays.
Funnily enough,
I muted myself, Slap. But yeah, I'm just gonna be here. If I have anything to add, then I will. But don't call on me for this one.
was that
It's all YouTube.
Bruh.
was that a long beep I heard in the middle of Sketch saying something there? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think so.
I heard, hey guys, go to
I'm going
YouTube
back on
and
mute. I'm going right back on mute.
Anyway, in 15th place, we do in fact find Jake and the Charlotte Beedrills. Yeah, all I put here was that was a yikes. That was the biggest of yikes in the most relevant of senses. I mean, yeah, I can't remember exactly what you brought, but this, yeah, you need a steel type, you know, or a poison type to take on that Mega Altaria. And yeah, it was kind of unfortunate that out of all of the sets, that were brought, it was mono return plus heal bell. But yeah, it was just a bit of a crushing loss, and there was an amount of debate about whether or not you should have been 15th or 14th here, but just for the scale of the loss and of the time that your opponent had to prep versus how much time you had to prep, yeah, this wasn't a nice week. I'm not going to bash it too hard because it's not fun bashing just straight sweeps, and we know that there is better to come. We know that much, and we know that there is more potential there. Come back next week, do better, win, do all of that stuff, and you'll start creeping up the rankings again. In 14th place. I'm sorry.
Rude. Please skipped over me. Now, okay, I will talk a little bit more about when it's Carney's turn, but
Yes.
he had a Blade, and that walls a mono return Mega Alteri. If he blocked that, the game would be completely different. And Blade actually didn't have that bad of a matchup. I will say we didn't get to see much of Jake's sets, which is kind of disappointing.
Yes.
I know that he obviously thought he could take down a Mega Alteri just by using status, which is not the fact, because Mega Alteri is hella bulky and gets
well, it gets recovery, it gets Hill Bell as well, so it's definitely not the end of a Mega Alteri if you just status it.
Yeah.
But yeah, is that all?
We're getting a lot of Bash's opinions don't matter, change my minds in the chat right now.
I hate you right now. I hate you right now, man. Oh my god.
I'm not the one who said it, it's them. They're spamming. Look at them. I haven't said anything.
Casey, I'm going to rip you apart, man. Watch it, buddy.
This is gonna be fun to try and edit, but so there is what it is, and we're off again. But yeah, so coming in at 14th, we have KHD and the Jersey Pursuits. Again, so okay, another public service broadcast, public opinion, blah 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 blah, whatever you want to call it. Bash can testify to the fact that literally 5 minutes before we started recording, I said I don't know how to rank 5th to 15th. This was just really hard due to the amount of hacks and just how equal everybody is at the moment. It's a very high standard of playing field that we're all on for this season. So don't feel disheartened if you're low on the rankings.
Wink, wink. Sorry, I had to do that for the chat. Okay.
Anyway, so coming at 14th was in fact KHD. So what I have here, so for this game, it was you went up against one of the most consistent players currently in the league, which is never fun when you're still trying to find how to properly work your draft. And also, this game really showed how much. So the matchup looked as if you're pressured out of bringing Empoleon, but you really needed a water type of some sort so that Arcanine didn't just split your team in half, which it still did, even though you knocked off the choice band.
I will say also though, I don't know if his no tank was thick fat or not in that match.
Yes, thick fat would have helped. Yeah, that's also true. But yeah, it was. I found myself watching this game where it's like you had a threat come out versus you, and you just let it deal out too much damage before you properly dealt with it. So it's kind of Arcanine. You knocked off the choice band. Yes, good. We sorted out just how much we clipped its damage output. Now we need to actually kill it, and you took another 3-4 turns to actually sort that out. And the same went for Mega Latios, which again you had. So I know it's an unbring for this game. Yeah, it was an unbring for this game, but versus a Mega Latios, you're going to need your Ice type, even if it's Mega Glalie. Also, Mega Glalie is good. Like, ooh, blimey, I'm burping. But yeah, it's like bring spikes, Ice Shard, Freeze Dry, Mixed Set, anything, Explosion. Bring Mono Explosion because Refrigerate Explosion is fun. But yeah, it's like in all honesty, this wasn't exactly a bad game. It's just that you lost Sylveon before Mega Latios even came out, and you could tell that hurt the team quite a lot. It's one of those where it was all just a little bit tit for tat, and you didn't really come out on top on any of the tit for tat, which was unfortunate.
Can I say some stuff about it real quick?
Let me think about that.
Okay. Think about that real quick.
I guess so.
Okay, first off, Electros is a pretty good answer to some of the things like Blastoise to Greninja, like those kind of mons. And you let that pretty much get mollywalked by like what was it, Arcanine? Like
Yeah.
what are you? Man, he lost that mon like pretty much. What was it like turn 3-ish? Like almost
Yeah.
like it was pretty much dead after like turn 3.
I think this is an issue that I find with my drafts a lot, is the fact that you know exactly where your win cons are, but you also need to, because of the variety in which you have your win cons, you also end up sacking them without realizing just how crucial they are to winning.
Also I want to say he got mollywalked by Greninja right there. 3 turns in a row, he got outpredicted with Greninja.
Yeah.
I think it was.
I was going to say
13.
that low kick into Decidueye.
Yeah. Oh no, low kick, low kick into the Decidueye, predicting, and then water falling, predicting the Torn to come in.
Yeah.
Oh my god. But then at the end, I don't know what his Torn set was now. I honestly don't. But I do think he could have, depending on the Torn set, if he sacked the Decidueye instead of Torn at the end, he could have actually won that game, depending on what his Torn set is. Because Torn, Piloswine was at 34%. Now, Piloswine can't take really that much of a hit at that point, and Cobalion doesn't really, can't really do too much to Torn, especially if Torn hits from a special side. Torn can hit absolutely mollywop Cobalion there. So, I don't know what his sets were, though, so...
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's not a terrible performance, it's just a little subpar, which is why you find yourself in this situation. Come back next week, win. I mean, this is the whole point, so actually, I don't want to go bashing people too hard, because we're all here for fun, and it's kind of like... It's one of these things where, so actually, I'm happy for people to come out and then blast what I thought about them the following week in how they perform. Because it's like, the more I get proved wrong, the harder it is for me to rank people because they're doing so well. But yeah, come out next week, win, do all of that stuff. I mean, I don't know whether you've played for week 4 yet. This is now a message for week 5, probably. But yeah, so coming in at, that was 14th, wasn't it? Coming in at 13th, we have Lev and the Tulsa Infernos. You got to win. You got to win under your belt. I mean, yeah, Hacks won this game. I mean, you're in a corner unless the Mega Horn missed. But either way, you rode your luck. And I mean, it can't be blamed. It's not something that we exactly go looking for. I mean, it's not like you can walk out of this game actively saying that Hacks was a viable win con for you. It just sort of happened. The thing is, the big thing is though, is that you're going to go straight back down if the first half of the game is how you're going to play each week, because that was slightly shaky and it didn't look like a comfortable way to play. And the second half looked a lot more confident once you actually understood where to go and how to play to try and minimize the loss / go for the win. At which point, kind of kudos, like you actually played it really well. It was just in the opening you like Scoot things and just was slowly tightening his grip onto the game. And we're going to get to Scoot at some point.
Yeah, I would say that actually, I don't know if that, like, depending on the Mega Venusaur set, of course.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, Mega Venusaur is a thick boy. Now, it would have came down, if he actually landed that, it would have came down to if Mega Venusaur could have beaten Raikou, Scolipede, and Licky Licky. Now,
yes.
Based off the Raikou set that he's shown, it was like a party utility kind of set. It was already Raikou was already burned, so he's wearing down. Mega Venusaur probably could have beaten that.
Yes.
Licky Licky was doesn't have its leftovers at this point.
Licky Licky was also burnt as well, I believe.
Yeah, he was tricked to flame.
The big thing was whether or not the Mega Venu could actually beat 1v1 the Scolipede.
Yeah, that would be the real thing. And if it came out with enough HP to actually take on or beat the Raikou before it could restore its HP back up, you know what I mean? So honestly, it really depends. Of course, it's really hard to tell when we don't know.
Yeah,
But it could have gone either way. Honestly, at that
I was
point.
going to say that. Yeah, that's the other thing is that when we talk about this stuff, we do make quite a large number of assumptions about some things. And so if you guys had stuff in the back, you guys had stuff in the back, and so you can yell at me afterwards. But yeah, coming in at number 12, we had Mike of the Kandahar Crocodiles. So literally the first line in what I've put here is, now there's a performance. Now there is a performance. Getting the first win under the game under your belt. The burn on Serena definitely helped. But I adored the Manaphy set. Like, that was a really nice set. That was a really clean set. It closed, like, without Jirachi turning up and really Jiraching hard. That was a 6-0. That was a clean cut 6-0. 2 Manaphy, easy sweep. And I mean, the other thing is that this really showed off where your draft's qualities lie, because you are actually able to properly apply the correct pressure in the right places, because you had Cart out there, and Cart pressured the heck out of stuff. It got the chip on Rotom early, and then you eliminated anything else that really caused Kartana issues with the Manaphy. But yeah, it was a really nice game, and it properly made me rethink about where this draft would be staying on the PR, because before this, I had a bit of a sinking feeling that this just wasn't going to be a comfortable season. This looked like a playoff run game. This looked like a team that could actually run for playoffs to me.
I will say, on turn 10, like you said, the burn sucked, but I don't know if was this Serena choice anyway? Was Jimmy Serena's choice in any way? Do you know?
I don't know. I believe not. I believe it was a Salt Fest.
Okay, well, here's the thing. So the burn did suck, but he went for a prediction with the HJK, and at that point he could have set up another. At that point, he could set up another acid armor, or anything like. At that point, I know it kind of sucked in that part of the match, but I don't know if it would have done like how much Serena would have done if it was a defensive Serena against a +2 defense Manaphy with a grass move, but. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Rude. Everybody's hating me. Okay. Whatever. We're just gonna go through. Jimmy was pretty much the only reason he didn't get 6 out was because he flinched down Manaphy. To be honest.
Yeah.
If you look at it, right?
Yeah. No, it was all down to the flinches off Jirachi.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was a really solid performance, and it really made me smile seeing this team work. Especially against Jimmy of all people, who is no pushover. But yeah, so we'll have the honourable talk where number 11 should be. It probably doesn't reflect where the draft on the team should be on the PR. They should probably be slightly higher for their performances. But we're going to talk about Scoot now. So yeah, this hacks again definitely got involved, and it definitely cost you. And you played a very good game up to that point. The Scarf Heatran definitely caught Scoot off guard. But again, like the attitude that we saw, and this is the reason why Scoot left in the end, was because we asked him to be slightly more chill and didn't really want to be. But so the general attitude to taking a loss like that was not something that is generally accepted, I'd find. I mean, we're all prone to annoyance, but it's not the kind of stuff they shouldn't be going after your opponent about this kind of stuff. You can say that like Hacks was a bitch and stuff, but you don't go after your opponent. That to me that crosses a line. And so for this reason, it's why the Blackmont Raikus are just not being ranked this week, because I didn't want to start having how somebody is behaving within the community also affects PR, which I feel like it would if I was to try and rank this team after week 3. So that's all we've got to say on Scoot this week. Thank you for playing for the first 3 weeks. Sorry for the hacks, because hacks is never fun to come up against, and the best of luck in whatever you're doing now, if you happen to listen to this. So coming in at number 10, we have Crypto and the Amateur v Ampharos again, yo-yoing between 10th and 8th. What did I have to say? The Ditto not being scarfed really threw Crypto, I feel. That was rough, and the Rabombi was just... It was painful to watch. It felt like something that would happen to me. I mean, you played the end game very well despite the position that you got put in. The only thing is that, so I assume the reason why you didn't go for the kill versus the Porygon 2 was because you didn't guarantee the KO after boosting once, because we had already seen that Thunder Wave was on the P2 and we knew what it was going to click. So I personally, unless I definitely wasn't going to kill and I knew that was my only way out, I would have clicked Moonblast or whatever to try and take out the P2 to put myself in the best situation where I don't put the outcome of the game into the hands of whether or not I get full parried. But yeah, that's what I have to say about it. And you're only dropping because it was a loss and there were other people who won.
I will say though, with the argument about the whole thing with the P2, P2 couldn't touch Rabombi at that point in the match.
Oh no. It couldn't touch it, but the issue is not about whether or not it can touch it. It's about whether or not it enables something else to touch it far more safely.
Yeah. And the pair really sucked because he did have at that point in the game, if he didn't get, it all came down to pairs, I guess.
Yes.
But at that point in the game, if he didn't get paired, that pretty much was over. Crypto would have slept at that point.
No, Slap, that's me breathing into the mic a ton. But yeah, so coming in at number 9, we have the Frozen Brett / Carney duo. So for people who haven't watched it, Mega Altaria turned up and did Mega Altaria things. I mean, talk about exploiting a very kind of niche issue with the draft, but it was perfectly executed. Hats off to Carney for it. For the first week with very little prep, this puts a very ominous spin on how this team is going to do for the rest of the season, and it will probably be jumping up the order quite quickly. But yeah, so really nice job, Carney. Keep it up. You're only 9th because I decided to leave you there for this week and this week alone, because I didn't know what your rank was going to be. I didn't know just how good you were. You know what I mean. Moving on, because that was a pretty open and shut game, and I don't think Bash will have much to add to it.
It was so funny because literally Crypto and I were talking about that before they battled. I was like, this way this guy brings mono attacking Mega Altaria because of a Doublade sitting there. Crypto was like, Crypto said that. I was like, there's always a chance. And I'm like, because we'll see, I guess, for next week. But yeah, it's kind of he really brought the right set, and I think the reason why he brought that set is because he felt like he could pressure Doublade enough with the rest of his team. Yeah. With like Doublade, Conkeldurr, things like that, they can knock off or earthquake it or do a ton of damage. Because remember, Doublade doesn't get reliable free. Yeah. So that's probably what he was thinking.
Yep.
So yeah, I just want to add that on.
No, that's fine. Coming in at number 8, we have Malone of the St. Louis Swablues. This is a team that is slowly on the rise. I didn't really realise what sort of record it was at. But yeah, I mean, 8th is a little low for a 2-1 team, but if you continue in this fashion, you're going to be jumping up the leaderboard. Yeah, what did I have to say? This was... yeah, so what I put was, so this was a commanding victory, but the record doesn't accurately reflect the story of the game. I mean, we've talked about Rabombi and how it could have cleared, but you made the plays you did, and it definitely worked out. RNG definitely played a role, but you also played the game very well to get you into the position that you found yourself in.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, nicely done. And you lucked on a slightly better differential, which could play into your favour come the point when we're sorting out playoffs. That's as far as I can say.
Can I say some stuff too?
Yeah,
real
yeah.
quick? So I really like on his Ferrothorn, because usually Ferrothorn fact that could be running stall this week.
Bash. Say everything again. It just dropped out on my side. It won't have recorded it.
Oh, okay. So I said I really enjoyed the fact that he brought Seed Bomb Ferrothorn over Power Whip Ferrothorn. Because
Yes.
of the fact that Suicune could easily stall out a Power Whip at that point, and he even brought sub Suicune. I think it was it Sub Protect? I'm not sure. In the
It was Sub Protect.
okay, so that's the thing. If Malone actually brought Power Whip, Suicune would have walled Ferrothorn after the power ups are done, and that would have been like after turns. So that would have been a huge problem, which I give props to Malone for bringing the right move, Seed Bomb, which still broke Suicune's sub and wasn't gonna get sold out as easily. So props to him on that.
Yeah. Coming in at number 7, we have Jimmy and the Pittsburgh Reggie Steelers. I mean, if there was any way to get styled, this was the way that I'd want to go, because that was a really nice Manaphy set. We've talked about that. The Serena burn was definitely not ideal. I actually read what you said about why you went for the high jump kick. I forgot it originally when Bash was talking about it. It was trying to bait on the switch into... There was a normal type or a dark type that could have come in and did
Cartana?
stuff. It may have been Cartana. I think it might have been Cartana. But yeah, so Jirachi went a long way to preventing a hard Manaphy sweep here. But yeah, I mean, it was a tough rub. Sometimes you get licked by hacks and then styled on. But yeah, this was... I feel as if this was a team that you were always going to struggle to play against due to the speed at which Mike's team just deals out the damage. Because Jimmy's team isn't the fastest, and actually Mike's is just straight fast offense, which is something that Jimmy's just struggled with. But yeah, it was a tough loss, but I trust to see you come back next week. I think that's about it that I have to say on that. Anything, Bash?
I don't really have too much to say about this. It's just he just didn't. I mean, with the predictions also with Koma O on the Jirachi switch in.
Yeah. That was it. He thought that Komodo was gonna come in.
Oh really? Oh well, okay. Because like I was talking about right at the end of the game at 5. Mike made the read that Jirachi will come in and click ground EMZ on it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just I think Jimmy just wasn't prepared for the kind of sets that Mike brought.
Yeah.
That's all it came down to really, because I think Jimmy's prep was still good. It just wasn't. He just wasn't prepared for the heat that Mike brought at all. Yeah.
No. But yeah, so that was Jimmy in 7th. In 6th, we find Slap of the Ottawa Aurus. Now, this is a turnaround for a team, and I'm very proud to see it happen. This was the kind of display that I expect from Slap. This was really confident in the face of hacks, and actually managed to keep your head down when it wasn't exactly going your way. Scarf Shaman was a really nice bring here, and along with Kecleon was probably the MVP of this game. I was really impressed to see it work so well. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, just this was a solid job. You made the right reads. You beat one of the teams which was inside the top 5 for week 2. And yeah, so I mean, what was the final thing? What was the final thing? I had one more thing to say. I can't think of the final thing to say. Oh yeah, that's it. Also, like, you might want to go take your mons to do some target practice, low-key. You know, just a little bit of target practice. Bash, anything to say on it?
Not really much. I mean, there was a lot of hacks in this game, but it kind of went, to be honest.
Yes, there was definitely hacks that went both ways, but yeah, I felt yeah, it was quite. There wasn't any back and forth to it, like straight back, straight forth, and a big winner or loser. It was just very heavily swinging.
Yeah,
almost.
And I will say also that Orsko plays very well when rocks are not up on his field. Very well, because Moltres, he's very good at using Moltres as rocks are off the field. And I mean, going to with the Slap thing, Slap was able to keep those rocks on the field, and that really pretty much caused, even with the hacks on both sides, Slap was able to win. I think Slap was able to win that game because he was able to win the hazard war.
Yes.
That's how I think he won that game.
Yes, that's also true. But yeah, so coming in at number 5, we happen to have Orozco, who played against Slap. I mean, this is a really hacksy game. We've just covered that. The crit on Toxapex particularly hurt, as well as the Weavile miss. Although, I mean, man, like, unless that was banded Weavile, I don't know whether or not that killed.
He did say it was banded.
Okay, I don't know whether or not that killed, but that's by the by. We talked about kind of hazards really hurting you here. But yeah, I just felt that so. Scarf Shaman was especially not prepared for, which, I mean, it shouldn't be something which you go out of your way to prep for, but like a offensive Shaman in general probably should be, and that was probably a little lacking. And there was a definite lack of proper Kecleon prep, partly because Kecleon's a little bit of a loose cannon as to whether or not it's going to be very much hit or very much miss. It was very much hit this week. But yeah. Just this was a hacks game. Could have gone, arguably could have gone either way. It was, just yeah, it was a little bit of a mess. But also, you definitely came off looking the weaker team out of the two, which isn't nice to say, but it's it just is what it is. Come back next week, do better, win, all of that. Coming in. I'm sorry. I just wanted to get to the point where you mute yourself.
Not yet. I will say this: I do not like the fact that your defogger this match or hazard move match was Moltres.
Yes, now, that was not ideal.
Especially when you have a Weavile and a Moltres in your team, the team that you brought alone, they do not like rocks at all. Especially Moltres with the defensive set he kind of brought, and Weavile. With the fact that I'm pretty sure he was banded, is what he said. Does not like to deal. Does want to come in as many times as possible, and it's not going to be able to do that if it's going to be taking that rocks damage 25% every time. So that became a huge issue. I know that his team isn't that weak to rocks, other than those two mods, and I think Ducklet. But he needs to fix his hazard removal issue. Because it affected him this game tremendously.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So yeah.
Yep. And then so coming in at number 4, we have Bash himself of the New York Metagross. New York Muse even. Oh my word.
He went on mute. YouTube. Bash, come back.
No,
Bash,
no,
where
no,
did
no,
you
no,
go?
no. He said that he'd purposely mute himself just to listen.
It's okay, dude. It's okay.
Okay, so let me just talk about. Okay, unfortunately, because I have both of them here, let me just talk a little bit extra about this game and kind of the history behind it. So, me, Sketch, and Bash all come back from another league called the UPC, where we all played each other. I was definitely the
I'm
worst.
going back on mute.
I was definitely the worst. These two kind of bickered all the time, and they both won a couple of championships between them. And so there has been
There was no bickering. I won all of our matches in UPC.
All right, I'm going to put both of you on mute in a sec.
Well, I'm
sorry,
pretty
go
sure
ahead,
you can't put me on mute, man. I'm the boss of the server, man. What are you doing?
Anyway, right. So the big thing is that what Sketch says is true. It's like half true. One of the things is that Bash is a very, very good player. It's just that whenever I've seen him play Sketch, there is always an amount of there are a couple of 4 IQ plays, I feel. Or there is a little bit of nerves to it or something like that. I don't know whether this is true or not, Bash, but yeah, it's just by the by. And so again, this was just another game where Sketch had you whipped. Like, I mean, admittedly, so yes, Cloister had an opportunity to sweep. The thing is, though, is that we know that Sketch is a ridiculously good prepper as well. We know this, and he knows how easy it is for Cloister to clear a field. So I'm pretty sure it was Sketch that 6-0'd Coach from turn 1 in UPC just by clicking Shell Smash.
Did I do that?
I think it was you. I can't remember.
I don't think it was.
I think it was Kurt.
Oh, was that Kurt?
Yeah, I was gonna say I really doubt that was me because I don't get 6-0s. I choke them. So.
Okay, but yeah, no. I mean, we have seen multiple times in the past just how potent Cloister is, and it's not something for Sketch to miss. So I mean, yeah, Bash. This was just a bit of a heavy game. You managed to scalp, not getting 6-0'd, which was pretty decent. Just yeah.
Yeah, no, that was smart at the end. I think like bluffing the Scarf Coco because like.
Oh yeah, no, bluffing the Scarf Coco is genius.
Happened.
Yeah.
And that Coco, like, honestly, was very close to bringing the game back. I don't think
Yep.
differential actually speaks to how close the match ended up being.
Oh no,
Because of that choke.
No, but yeah. So I mean, this is just a regular Bash versus Sketch game. I mean, Bash, you played as I would have expected you to have played, and it was as close as I expected it to have been. In the fact that yes, the differential does not reflect how close the game was because there were so many times where basically, if a single thing was different, one of you went for game right there and then, and it's the same every time you two play in that sort of vein.
I think the big thing was like, if Girder had Ice Punch, that would be a very different game.
Yes.
I'm so mad. I literally had. I'm still putting Ice Punch on it.
Or if it actually clicked knockoff on the Necrozma switching.
No, see, here's the thing. The reason why I never clicked. This is why I should have had Ice. I realized it before the game started, and I realized it during the game several times that I should have had Ice Punch. The reason I didn't click knockoff ever was because I wanted
Necrozma to stay scarfed.
Yep, I wanted Necrozma to stay scarfed so I could set up on Twister. That was the whole point of the thing.
Okay.
I mean, it was smart because, like, if you look at the replay,
yeah, that's understandable.
The Necrozma couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny because giving it that scarf, because like Crypto told me this after the match, he was like, somehow giving Necrozma a scarf made it better in this match because like it was able to like get its recoveries off quicker and like force you to like do switches and stuff rather than like standard play around it.
Yeah. But yeah.
I will say, props to you though with Salazzle because I did not expect.
Oh yeah. The scarf Salazzle was brilliant.
Yeah, I positive I would have just 5-0'd. I think it was 5-0 at that point. I would have 5-0'd you at that point.
Yeah, probably.
Because I had Protect on Megalopney Fake Out as well. for that.
Yeah, yeah.
For
So,
just a quick bio note, Sketch is third as well on the PR. We're talking about this completely.
yeah,
So
it's a 2-for-1 special right
yeah,
here.
Yeah. I will also
Were
say.
you
Oh, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
that cloister? It wasn't like plus speed nature, right? It was like plus attack or plus special attack, I imagine.
Let me pull up my set real quick.
oh dear.
Because I'm
Um,
pretty sure
It's plus speed.
that
It's
when
plus
I was
speed.
prepping,
It's plus speed.
really,
I want to make
maybe
sure.
I like missed something in
Uh-oh.
prep.
Uh-oh.
Because I'm pretty
Let's
sure
not go down
it
this
was,
hole.
No. I'm just saying. I think if it was a plus speed nature, I thought it was supposed to outspeed Salazzle at +2.
Okay.
Well, here's the thing. I wasn't max. I guess. Oh, maybe.
Oh,
I wasn't max speed. I was enough speed to outspeed. I think Scarf Salamence. I think was it? It might have been Scarf Salamence.
Okay.
But I will say also, I could have, depending on his Megalophony set, because I forgot what. If you were Adamant or Jolly, you were Jollier.
against you. Let me see.
Because
Yeah, I was jolly.
I also misplayed at then because I should have roosted at then. Maybe got with a little more differential at then with Tapu Koko. Remember that with the sucker? You click sucker punch.
Yeah.
You got the crit, but yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I lost.
Yeah.
Pretty much didn't have
First-
a bunch of ammo.
First loss for Bash.
Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah. No, the one other thing that I said that I had written down about this game was that paralyzing 2 mons with high damage output versus your team was really nice right at the start of this game for Sketch. So kudos to that. But yeah, so coming in at second, we have Ducksuck of the Far-Fetched Flyers. Yeah, this was just another solid performance from Ducksuck. Again, I'm going to say it now and I'm going to rue it next week, but so really consistent player. I mean, just being able to identify just how much Arcanine goes in versus this team was really nice, even when you got knocked off the choice band. Yeah. And then Megalatios did what it needed once Sylveon was suitably chipped / gone. So yeah, keep it up. The thing to understand here is that the reason for Bash and Sketch being the way they are is the fact that they're on the same record, but Sketch has gone through a harder set of opponents, and so the reason why Ducksuck is second instead of first. Is for similar reasons as in first place we have Vish of the Mew World Order. This was just a really nice game set wise, like Light Screen Scarf Wash Tom, that was nice, and then you get the Splurge Seal of Approval for the Super Fang Stealth Rock Morwile set. And yeah, so Vish has gone through a harder set of opponents as well, that's why he's first. Admittedly, you went through an easy team I say an easy team. Phantom Base isn't a pushover, it's just he doesn't have a particularly potent team and isn't utilising it to its full extent, I feel. But yeah, so just another solid game, really nice play, and has managed to now jump from, I think it was 15th, second to last in post-draft power rankings, to now first come the end of week 3 in PR. So very well done. Bash, you got anything?
Well, so I had a feeling that, to be honest, based off the draft, I would say it's not amazing, okay? But I just think it's Vish's prep and skill.
Yes,
honestly,
yes.
That puts him like so high up in because he honestly, for some reason, he pulls out these crazy techs, and he makes all these mods that don't look like they work together actually work together really well.
Well, it's like I said last week. This is the MV team.
Yeah.
It's got no right to work, and it does.
I'm still expecting Tricker and Bruxish or something with Bruxish because I want to see that.
Yep. But yeah.
Yeah. So that's all I gotta say about it.
Yeah. So that is Crash Season 3 Week 3 power rankings. We had a whole load of wacky games this week. I assume that we've had a whole load more wacky games in week 4. And yeah, I hope you guys all have a brilliant week. Good luck with the rest of week 4 and week 5, and we shall speak to you next week now, because we're back on schedule. Hallelujah. Anyway, have a good week, everybody, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.
Let's go.